Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. Like I told you, we'll be having a conversation about comfort, affordability, or luxury. What do you look out for when you're getting a home, or what should be top of your list between these three? And I've got just the right people to have this conversation with. Stephen Owusu is founder and CEO of HDG Homes Ltd, and he's here in the studio with me, with Dorothy Bimpong, who is head of sales at HDG Homes Ltd. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here in my studios.
Thank you.
And they've been doing some wonderful work in Kumasi. We'll be talking about that much later after we, have this very important conversation, which should matter to you if you're somebody who is a prospective homeowner. Let me start with you because you are a founder and a CEO of a company that works in this space. What would you tell somebody who is hoping to acquire a home? Am I looking for comfort, affordability, luxury, or can I get all the three in one? What would you tell a prospective homeowner who comes to sit in front of you with a conversation like this?
And thank you for the question. I think for us at HDG, we actually start with the client in mind. There are a lot of different reasons why people want to own a home, and you do have different people at different stages of their life, whether the person is a single person, they have a large family, a small family. So you really start with the client in mind, thinking about the space they are going to occupy. So it's not a case of, I hear people talk about a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. There are more spaces that needs to be created in a home. Laundry rooms, for example, which you don't see in many rooms. So I think we actually start with thinking about the client in mind before we get into the affordability and comfort and whatnot. So it's about designing the space to fit the person who is actually going to live within that space.
And when you say fit the person, because I speak to a lot of young people who are very ambitious. Look, we are dreamers. We are go-getters. So when you say with the client in mind, is it really what the client thinks they need, or based on your expertise and interaction with the client, what you believe they need?
We've done a lot of work in this space, in the UK, in the United States, and in Ghana for a number of years now. You reference young people. They need space that are intertwined, right? Probably more open space that works for them. Some people work from home. Nowadays, even when you go home, you're still working. So just making sure that the space is designed to really fit their need. And they may be a young person, but maybe they want to raise a family. So if you just look at it as a young person, you're probably thinking, a suite will do. But actually, they may be planning a family in the next couple of years. So it's really important that you really start with those requirements. And then I think all the other pieces just flows after that.
Let me come to you, Dorothy. Like I said, we know the housing deficit in Ghana. And the tag affordable housing is something that a lot of Ghanaians run away from. We are tired because when they hear the term affordable housing, everybody is thinking that, okay, it's something the average Ghanaian can afford. But when you hear the price tags, you're asking yourself, is this really affordable? Many people actually do not believe they can own homes. It's a far-fetched dream for them. In other parts of the world where you say you've worked as well, there are mortgage opportunities which are not so costly. So even the mortgage opportunities here, there are problems. So really, is it possible for many of us to own homes? Should we even be conceiving that dream? And if we can, how should we go about ensuring that that concept becomes a reality for us?
Thank you. I believe that it would start with planning and then looking out for what exactly you want. If it comes to affordability, you'd also need to consider location. What we are doing at HDG Homes is we have payment plans available.
Right.
We have also partnered with EcoBank, so in case you're seeking mortgage financing, you can speak to EcoBank and you can talk to them what currency you would want your mortgage to be in. We understand that everybody do not have all of the amount to come in and then buy their property. So we're selling off plan where we give you a time, there's a spread where you can pay, you can do your payment. So you start with your first installment, couple of months. You get to see the schedule upfront, which will allow you to put your finances together. So by the time we have started construction, you start paying for it. When we're done, you would have finished. So it's very flexible. We are open to discussing more if you feel like there's something else you'd want to do to the payment schedule. So it's very affordable and it's good for planning. You don't have to get up and come with whatever the amount of the property you're looking for. You don't have to bring everything into the office or take everything into the bank. You get to spread it over a period.
Okay, so there are two things I glean from what you just said. So if I want to be a homeowner, say in the next 5 or 10 years, and I earn 5,000 or 6,000 cedis, for example, which I don't think a lot of Ghanaian average young people earn, by the way, I should be planning now.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Looking ahead 5 years from now.
Absolutely.
Obviously, considering inflation and everything the city will be doing. But I should be planning now.
Absolutely.
The other thing I gleaned from what you said is I should be looking for companies like yours that will not demand an upfront payment, that can work with me and work with my long-term planning. That's what I get. So if you're a young person, look, Dorothy is saying, it's not far from you. You can actually own a home. You just need to plan.
Absolutely.
Right? And then when you do that, you can speak to HDG, and much later they'll be sharing their contacts and ways that you can reach out to them because they're doing, like I said, some fantastic work, and you've been seeing some of them rolling up on your screens. You mentioned location, which is an important subject for many people because unfortunately our cities are not planned. I mean, I just need to find out from you also how easy or difficult it is for you when you are putting up some of your, estates and homes. Because in other places, you know that there are earmarked lands, so it's easy. You go, you're looking for, and you know that the next facility that is coming next to you is not going to be something that's going to disturb what you've put up. But here in Ghana, it's difficult to tell. The next time you realize there's an abattoir next door and your facility is probably going to lose clients. So how do you work around the location problem?
Great question. It's one of the motivations for HDG. What we are creating in Ghana is to fix everything you've just talked about. We are dealing with over 55 acres of land and is a modern city. It's a smart city. The city runs on an app, basically. It's a sustainable city where we are recapturing water, reusing that, using solar panels and whatnot. City with bike lanes, walkways, so you can go for a walk or a run without sharing the road with a car. So we have the opportunity, and I've been saying it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in Kumasi, especially because of the location right in front of the airport. And so all the things that you've mentioned is what HDG is for. We don't build sort of an apartment block where we just take a piece of land and just put up the building and ignore the surroundings. If you buy an apartment or a home from HDG, you are literally living in a city, a well thought out city. And one of the motivation is that if you're coming from the UK or the United States or you live in Ghana, when you enter the city, it's going to feel different. So the goal for HDG is to develop this airport city that we've been talking about. I know a lot of people would have seen the billboard in town as well. So we are going to fix all those issues. So there won't be any abattoir next to you. There won't be any open sewage. You will not even see a gutter. So it's going to be...
There will be no flooding.
There will be no flooding. It will be one of its kind, not just in Ghana, but in the whole of West Africa. So we are really, really proud about that.
Fantastic. So that's what HDG has done. But for many people who may say, oh, I want to buy a piece of land and develop my own property, what advice would you give them in terms of an area that will probably turn out to serve their benefit? What are the things
Yeah.
that they can look out for so that if you're purchasing land, look for A, B, C, D. There are factors that will likely give you a hint that this would be a community that would develop into a place that you would be comfortable in.
There's a couple of things I want to say about that. And we talked about, Dorothy mentioned about, the plan. If you want to buy a home, it's probably the most expensive purchase you will make in your lifetime. So you do need to make sure that you plan out whether you are saving money, or if you have parents with a home that can release some equity for you, you can probably borrow that, right? But you have to have, the starting point. You can't have zero in the bank and say, I want to buy a home or I want to buy a land. So that goes without saying. What I would share with people is that you need to be looking 5-10 years from now. So it's not about a piece of land that you want to buy and
Because it's cheap.
Because it's cheap. It will end up costing you a lot more. If there is a development where the roads are done, there's electricity, there is a standby power, and you really need to be, and like you said, young people are aspirational, but I feel everybody should be. And we should be pushing the developers in the country to be developing better spaces for us. So we need lands that are serviced versus just going and picking up any land that you can get. So I would encourage people to be even more aspirational in terms of what it is that they're looking for. Of course, not everybody will be able to afford to buy those. Somebody have to still probably buy a land somewhere else. But I think if you're a young person or you are somebody who's looking at buying a home, I will encourage you to sort of plan and make sure that you yourself are pushing the envelope in terms of where you want to live and where you want to raise your family.
So in other words, it's better to push yourself financially to get land in a well-demarcated area than to buy a cheap one somewhere you're not sure what's going to happen in the next 10 or 5 years, right? Dorothy, to buy or to build? That's a big question. It's a conversation I've had myself. Yeah. To buy or to build, which is less expensive, which is less stressful, What would your ideal advice be?
I would say to buy. Because the developer would have already done a lot of groundwork for you. You don't have to deal with certain vendors. We are looking at sourcing extensive materials. We're looking at design, specifications. So all of this will come as a one-time package where you don't have to stress yourself with so many things. You come in, you have your money or whatever payment plan that you're discussing with management, you go in and then you sign up. I feel like if you're buying, it takes a lot of stress off you as a purchaser, depending on your schedule. I mean, everybody wants convenience and comfortability. So this person has already taken out the stress of sourcing your location, having to deal with lands commission. In Ghana, we have lots of challenges with purchasing land. Yeah. You would go, someone have bought it, you go, they
pay 3 times.
There's all of that. So all of that has been ruled out for you. You're only coming in, and most often than not, when you're buying, you're almost getting a semi-furnished unit. So you don't have to go back to the market to buy appliances and all of that. You literally need to move in with your luggage, basically. So it's always the best bet to go with buying than building.
All right. Same for you?
Absolutely. I think I have a personal experience of both.
Okay.
And, I think that, you think that it's cheaper, but they actually end up costing you more, and you end up with something that doesn't actually fit exactly what you need. I think where the conversation needs to be is about helping people to afford and spread payment out. I think the mortgage product in Ghana, I believe, is very, very good. Banks are giving people 15 years to pay. And I think one can look at the interest payments alone and say, well, the interest is actually quite high. But if you are buying a house of $150,000 or whatever the price may be, by the time you've paid over those 15 years, you've also accumulated a lot of wealth within the building. So it's not just about what we call first costs, but it's about looking at the total costs and, at the end of the mortgage, how much you've paid, versus how much the property is actually appreciated and is worth. So if you want to build, you need to assemble a team of different vendors, and the time alone it takes to build. So I think, again, we understand not everybody will be able to afford it, so people will still have to buy land and try and do it themselves. But from a general standpoint, it's better to have a look at an option to buy and really negotiate the payment terms to make sure it can fit your own payment schedule.
Okay, since you're real estate developers, there's a question that comes up a lot. When you buy land, ideally it's not bought like 100, it's leased. Yes. So is it the same with homes, or when you purchase the home, it's yours for life?
They all are yours for life. The way the lease agreements are structured, and this is the same in the UK especially, where you will lease the land or you buy the house, but it's actually called a leasehold. Nobody is going to say to you at the end of 50 years or 100 years, your lease has expired, pull down your building and move, right? So even though it's a leasehold, you own it, it's yours. Nobody's gonna kick you out. The only implication is that every time the lease expires, there is a payment that needs to be made to the landowner. And those payments are never high. They are never, it's not something that you can't afford. It's really, really small, like ground rent or that sort of thing. So for all practical purposes, if you have a leasehold, you own it. You shouldn't think about, I only have 50 years or 40 years or 80 years. Nobody's going to kick you out.
Right.
Well,
so I hope you've at least gotten some good advice, free consultation you've had this morning. And it's all looking forward to our EcoBank Donors Habitat Fair, which is happening this year, much later in the year. But our clinic will make a stop from tomorrow through to Sunday at the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, first time ever serving our clients in that part of the country. We hope that you would join us. So now let's delve a bit more into what you do, and you just made reference in your responses to the Airport City Kumasi project. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, thank you. So Kumasi has now gotten an international airport. Is built, and we are looking forward to it being opening. So the first time ever, people from the Ashanti region, from the Ahafo region and north, don't have to come to Accra to travel to Dubai, to London, and to the United States. This is a seismic change in the country. And as part of that development, HDG have acquired land, over 50 acres of land in front of the airport. Similar to what you see in Accra around the Holiday Inn and whatnot. But in Accra, it's sort of geared towards commercial, commercial buildings. We are going more mixed use. So there are some commercial buildings, but actually it's more residential as well. So we are developing this land into an Airport City project, as I said, with a strip mall, there's a hospital, there is a first 5-star hotel coming to Kumasi at the airport, and then there's also a boutique hotel at the same time, and you're going to have luxury homes, as you've seen on your screen, and we've just launched our first project called the Kensington Heights, which you would have seen the billboards in town. The highest building you will see in Kumasi, 10-story rooftop, service apartment and whatnot. So it will really transform not just in front of the airport, but the whole of Kumasi, and we're very excited about that.
Dorothy, tell us how you're hoping to execute this. Are you doing it in phases, or it's a, one-time project?
No, so what we're doing is we're targeting everything in phases. So currently we have the Kensington Heights, which is currently on sale. We're looking at end of November to actually start construction. So we're doing it in phases because it's a lot. You don't want to start everything at one point. We have a spread of years that we're looking at achieving everything and having the entire city coming together. But at the moment, we're targeting every project in phases.
So you've started selling for the Kensington Heights?
Yes.
All right,
yes,
so how do
yes.
people take advantage of this? Are there any numbers to call? Yes. How do they find you? Just let us know.
Yes, we have started selling. Actually, currently we are sold out on our 2-bedroom penthouses, and we only have 4 studios left. So as quickly as possible. You may
Starting
want to,
price?
yes, so the
is-
studios are starting from $69,950. You can reach out to us at info@hdghomesLimited.com. We are also located in Laboni, house number 12, Fort Nola Street. You can also call 0201-399-701.
Please mention the number again.
0201-399-701.
Exciting, isn't it? So you've had a lot today, and Dorothy told us earlier that they have a package with EcoBank. So, yeah, you can just reach out to the bank and see what your options are, and reach out to them as well. And also, I mean, what if I want to purchase something else that is yet to start? Because you say you've sold out on the 2 bedrooms for the Kensington
So for
project.
the Kensington Heights, we actually have 2 phases.
Okay.
So we would have 2 bedrooms in the second phase.
Okay.
But what we're doing is selling the first phase now. So you have options. If you want anything, you can just come into our office and then we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, so I think that's what you should do. Just visit them in Laboni, you said, number 12.
Fort Nola Street.
All right. So just visit HDG Homes Limited and just get acquainted with everything they have, the plan, you know, because it's such a beautiful plan that Mr. Owusu just painted in our minds. They're going to have what? Malls, hospital, a 5-star hotel. You just want to take advantage of this and be part of this beautiful city. Let me say a very big thank you to you. Stephen Owusu is founder and CEO, HDG Homes Limited, and Dorothy Bimpong is head of sales, HDG Homes Limited. Oh, is that the number you announced? Okay, some people have already started calling. So, Dorothy, I'll just let you go so you can go and handle the calls. But thank you so much for having this conversation with us. We are not done yet with our conversations on homes and acquiring homes. Ironi Odate Lamte will be joining me. He's the project officer of Cities and Habitats. You want to stay for that.